Morning, everybody. I am Dustin Cronin, and I am the president and founder of Creating Connections Piece by Piece. And I am an individual who lives with autism, who aims to help other folks communicate better with other individuals on the autism spectrum. And I have a second time guest here, and she is going to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Sandate White, and I am one of the owners of Helping Hands Creations, which is a business that makes resources for those on the autism spectrum, ADHD spectrum, or just are neurodiverse. I admire Dustin for his work in the community, and I'm happy to be here again.
Yes, ma'am. And this is part two interview today. And you ready for your first question, Sam?
Yes, sir.
All right. What was your life like in college?
Um, well, in college, I will admit I was very confused. um, I was undiagnosed at the time. So I went from our usual schedule that in high school and well, just grade school in general. Like you went to class, you went to lunch, you did your work. The expectations and schedule were just so set in routine that it was a quite a shock going into college, where suddenly schedules were all over the place. I had to get a job. I was in charge of my own food and drinks and just general self care. Then you have all relationships with friends and just I was so overwhelmed. So I can say, yeah, college was overwhelming. Not necessarily the work. I love learning. Learning's great. It's everything else. Adulthood.
What was your life like working at HEB? In what departments did you work and how did you do in those departments?
So I worked for HEB during college, a little afterwards. I loved it. Definitely one of my favorite places to work. Uh, One of the departments that I worked in was the produce department. I made aguas frescas and did samples for, and we made guacamole and I cut fruit, and I really did love it. But after I got a pretty bad injury and some watermelons fell on me, and um I sadly had trouble healing from it. I was moved to cashier, and that was miserable. Uh, that was very overwhelming. I did not make a good cashier. Um, but so sadly, my time at HEB ended because of my injury. It was my tailbone and hip and lower back. But I really did enjoy my time at HEB while I was there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It is. I have to agree with you. It is a great company to work for too.
Oh, we received a question in the chat. Hello. We are from Corpus Christi, Texas.
And I am from Austin, Texas.
But
And
um, but yeah. What's the next question, Dustin?
for the next question is, what is your favorite food and why?
Oh, my favorite food. Oh, um, so I really, really like white rice. So anything I could have with white rice is pretty amazing. Sushi, poke bowls, just a fish or meat with white rice. I'll even take meat and gravy with white rice. I just really like white rice.
If you were in a court system, you had to go to court for anything, whether it was criminal or civil. What are some coping mechanisms that make you comfortable?
Um, for me personally, I do move a lot, especially my feet and my hands. I get really nervous otherwise if I'm not moving something. Like currently, you can't see my hands. I'm currently moving my hands and feet a lot. Um, I think if they allowed me to just fidget with something, that would be nice. Or don't mind me drawing. It would be nice if they knew I had autism ADHD and they just uh, didn't take offense if I started moving a lot or doodling. It wasn't me being silly or not taking uh, the court system seriously. It's just me trying to kind of contain all that nervous energy.
Yeah. Mine, I know my one of my coping mechanisms is an autistic man. Like when I'm in court, I would say for me, I know it sounds a little silly, but drinking, like a Dr. Pepper or eating a Kit Kat bar or any kind of candy bar or eating any kind of snack or having a stretch, one of those stretch balls.
Yeah. STEM toys and eating are actually great ways to kind of just stimulate the body and let out some of that anxiety in a non-harmful way.
Yeah. And do you think judges and lawyers should keep STEM toys in their offices for people on the spectrum or anybody who has ADHD or any police officers to keep them in their cars while they're patrolling the streets or firemen or paramedics as well?
I think
And
that's a fantastic idea. If I think they would need to be trained a little bit to kind of know, but keeping a compression vest, a weighted blanket, some STEM toys or snacks. Um, I think that's just a great thing to have on them because at the end of the day, autistic behaviors are human behaviors. If someone, even someone non autistic, if they're distressed enough, um, a snack or a weighted blanket would feel good to them too. And especially distressed young children who have gone through something traumatizing. So I think it would be a great idea to kind of educate and teach these types of professionals to have this kind of emergency sensory kit for times that's useful for those with disabilities or just somebody in need.
all right. And what if they need to play like any like Game Boys or anything like that or any
I,
kind like small like portable electronic things or anything like that or
no, I understand. Um, I think at that point, it, professionals just need to be trained that a lot of these kind of habits that you find in our communities, people see as negative behaviors or misbehaviors. But in reality, these are how people comfort themselves. Um, for a person who doesn't understand autism or ADHD, I kind of tell them it's kind of like when you're very very worried something very bad happened to a family member. Let's say you're in a waiting room to hear news about if your family member is going to be okay and you start pacing back and forth. That's a completely normal response to stress. But for an autistic person, their pacing back and forth is also a normal stress response for their body because they are currently stressed by their environment. Just because you can't see the pain or what's causing the pain doesn't mean the pain is not there. So a lot of these habits like being on a Game Boy or iPad, it's a comfort item because the person is trying to comfort themselves in an overstimulating situation.
yes ma'am. And do you think courts or any, like kind of hospitals or should provide, sensory rooms for people with autism or any kind of like sensory things? Why or why not?
Yes. I'm going to kind of refer to my other answer from earlier. Autistic behaviors, ADHD behaviors, they're still human behaviors. Even those rooms will be definitely useful to those on the spectrum, and it will prevent them having, let's say, a meltdown in a dangerous situation, like in a crowded room, which is very important because safety comes first for the individual. But there are times, even where neurotypical people need a quiet area. Maybe they're stressed or something happened or they're sick. And I think it's just very important to have an emergency space for when those situations happen to keep them from escalating. If someone is given devastating news or is in pain or hurt, it shouldn't matter necessarily if they have a special ID saying they're autistic, because a lot of us are undiagnosed. Having that space available for someone in need, it guarantees that all people with disabilities and all people who need that support are getting the support that they deserve, because people deserve to live with dignity and grace. And what if we're able to provide support in the ways that we can, we should try.
And what is a nice way to for one of the common traits of autism? Like repeating the same sentences when you're in a social conversation. What is a nice way to address it and why?
So there are so many different causes for when that happens. It could be a attention issue due to ADHD. They just simply don't even remember saying it. It could be a verbal stim, and they're repeating it because it feels good and they don't quite realize um, that how it comes across socially. It could be repeated just because that's how they process the words that they are saying or hearing. So there's many different causes of why this occurs. I think the most graceful thing to do is to maybe to ask yourself, as the person listening, is this a problem? Like, if it's a short encounter and you're never going to see this person again, it doesn't make sense to interrupt this person and give them a lecture on repeating. It's more harmful than helpful. However, if you have a close relationship with this person and it's affecting your relationship, then coming together and talking about it and maybe even trying to come up with strategies to either let the person know or um, kind of let them address it afterwards, I think is very important. So at the end of the day, it counts on how much the repeating affects the people around them and the person who is doing it. Because most of the time, for those on the autism or ADHD spectrum, it is not on purpose. It's simply a side effect from different behaviors we happen to have.
What about someone who is having obsessive interest in one topic? What's a nice way to correct someone on that one?
So there's actually lots of strategies for that. So at
Eh,
the end of the day, I think it's very important to talk to the person who is doing this kind of obsessive, repetitive thinking, and kind of have them weigh the consequences. If they, it's kind of like each one of us is a flower. And if people are constantly giving you attention on your interests, you're almost overwatering yourself, because it's really important for other people to get some water too. That's some attention to them. So it's very important that you don't cause the relationships around you to dry out. And so it is very important to address this is the action that's taking place and these are the consequences. And then after that point, you could come together and come up with strategies to kind of prevent it from happening again in the future. Whether it's holding a baton when talking, taking tally marks, or giving tokens. There's so many different strategies towards making sure everyone's getting a turn to talk about their interests. Either that or connecting interests. Like if I have a special interest in talking about autism, but my friend has a special interest in drawing, maybe with their permission, we draw together and I draw things about my special interest.
Yeah,
Just there's loads of different ways to do it. Um, it's just at the end of the day, it takes so much compassion and communication from both sides.
I agree with that 100%. So, next question. How do you do whenever you told me about last interview about the football games with the loud noises? How do you handle sirens when they come? Do they bother you or are you okay with them? How do you do with them?
Well, I will admit sirens scare me. It's not on purpose. As soon as I hear it, I freeze. They definitely alarm me, but I don't think I don't think it's necessarily anyone's problem to deal with it, because I'm the one being triggered, and I'm the one who has to come up with ways to comfort myself and deal when it happens, because a siren can happen at any time. It could happen when I'm driving by a Walmart. It could happen while I'm at home. I'm going to hear that noise. So it's very important for me to figure out, okay, when I hear a siren and I get nervous, what should I do? Well, I should take the actions to comfort myself because I'm the one being triggered. So I think, yes, I find sirens very alarming, and I am blessed that I have the ability to comfort myself. For those who are unable to, I think it's very important to acknowledge it can be a trigger and to offer them tools so that they may be comforted. That's why I think your little sensory kit idea is a very good idea.
Yeah. And for people who are sensitive to loud noises, like for autism, because I used to be real sensitive, to loud noise, to sirens when I was younger, but I've kind of gotten used to them by now. And for anybody who is sensitive to loud noises, would you say these would be the right amount to hand them, or would you hand them like something bigger headphones?
Um, I would say a bigger headphones, just because you cannot predict other people's support needs. And if it's really small, there's a really good chance that they might struggle putting it on, or will fall, roll under something. So if you don't know the person, usually the simpler the item is, the better when it comes to helping those in need.
That's a good answer right there. And how do you do when reading people's body languages? Because I struggle with reading people's body languages or facial expressions. I struggle with that. How do you feel?
I struggle with it a lot. Um, I can tell when their body language changes. I just struggle to tell why it changed. And I will admit it's a problem with me. Sometimes I get distressed because I can tell the body language changed, so that I'm supposed to change my response, but I don't know what to do, and that makes me anxious and upset. So it's for me, I have to kind of remind myself to stay calm, that just because I can't tell what they're feeling, I shouldn't take it out on them. So I think that's a common kind of phenomenon many autistic ADHD people relate to, because it is distressing when you can't keep up with a conversation or understand why a conversation just turned a direction you weren't expecting. And I think it's common for people to get upset when they're confused or feel hurt.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you on that too. So, talking about, do you remember Robert Robertson, the one that I was sending you a while back, the guy that's been in prison, like that has autism.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do remember that. I called for him um several times. Yes.
uh, how do you think it could have been handled better, and why?
Um, Unfortunately, there were many things wrong with the process of his trial, his arrest, how the media interacted with him. I think it's unfortunate how everything proceeded during the investigation. At the end of the day, they used non scientific findings. There was no necessary concrete proof of what happened. They were claiming to happen. They just used a statement with no factual backing on it. I believe that because he was on the autism spectrum, that a lot of his body language and interaction with the media should not have been held against him and should not have happened. I do wish that there was more protections when it comes to interacting with the media, especially when you're being investigated. Um, I think, unfortunately, those on the autism spectrum, like ourselves, we are at a disadvantage when it comes to other people assuming things about our body language or our tone. So it's just very important to not use that information against us. But unfortunately, the way our current law is written, the only thing we can do as citizens is call um, to petition his situation. So that I personally did so because I believe that the whole situation was unfair.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that. His situation was very unfair, and I'm going to give you the whole floor to talk about anything you want to talk about.
Oh, you weren't doing the other questions you were interested in? You can.
Do you want me to do them?
You can do them. You have my
Okay.
permission.
All right. So what was your bullying history like in high school? Why or why not? And how much better do you think it could have been handled, and why?
So I think a lot of my quirkiness and odd behaviors were excused due to my grades. I do wish that those things had been addressed sooner because soft skills and self care skills are very important to succeed in life. You can have the highest grades ever, and if you can't bring yourself to feed yourself or drink water when you need it, like you're not gonna succeed in life, and your quality of life will be lower than your average person's. So I think, unfortunately, I do wish the signs had been caught sooner that I was autistic. It would have made things a lot easier, I think, because then I would have realized a lot of my behaviors that were kind of making me a target for bullies. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of things I was bullied over were about grades, stealing my work, or um, one time I got a threatening email from another school. We were both taking Del Mar classes, and they threatened to beat me up over having a good grade in a college class. Um, Unfortunately, things like that were very common for me. But I don't think any of the situations were taken any. They weren't really taken seriously, and they I think adults, unfortunately, all brought it down to, oh, they're just jealous. Oh, they're just jealous. Well, yes, but a typical student is able to navigate things in a way where it's not constantly happening. If something is constantly happening, that should be a sign that maybe something is going on.
Yeah. And how did you like being a teacher?
So the actual teaching with my students, I loved it. People would always compliment me for understanding autistic students. I feel like I had a little bit of an unfair advantage, to be fair, but I loved teaching. However, I do think it was a lot for me. I get overwhelmed easy, and my coworker relations were not the best. I really struggled with coworkers. Till this day, I remember one very vivid complaint. Actually, lots of vivid complaints. One time, a teacher reported me for eating in the dark during my lunchtime in my own room. I just had the light off. Uh, um, I got reported for wearing the same jacket too many times during winter. Uh, I had been reported for when I said thank you, I just didn't sound grateful enough. Um, and I also was reported for talking too much about volunteering. um, it's unfortunate, but when you're autistic, these complaints probably sound utterly ridiculous to your average person. Why would any boss entertain any of these things? Well, unfortunately, when you're autistic, this is kind of what it feels like. Um, Other people can tell that you're slightly off in terms of the normal average behavior of another person. And they can take these kind of tiny behaviors that actually don't hurt them um, to a new level. One time I was followed throughout a parking lot to my classroom because I parked in their spot. They were very upset. I had gone to work at like 5 a.m. and were very upset at that. Oh, one time I was slapped at a copy machine for letting someone in front of me. I did. I was very confused until someone explained to me, did that person not like you?" I was like, "Yeah, she hated me." When you do something polite for someone who hates you, they take it as an insult. I was like, "Oh, I did not know that. I just thought I was being polite." Um, so I think, unfortunately, a lot of situations that autistic people find themselves in, people will be confused. Like, that doesn't sound like it was that bad, or that sounds silly. Why would that happen? And or you're exaggerating. Not real people don't do that. No, they happen to us not because of the actual behavior in itself, but because we don't adjust to other people's behaviors in the way people expect, and it distresses other people. And it's just an unfortunate side effect of being on the spectrum.
I'll do one more question and then I'll give you the floor to talk about anything you want to talk about. In this final question, how does what is your favorite dessert and how does the texture feel to you and why or why not?
Uh oh gosh. So this is a tough one. I really like ice cream, and I really like recently my favorite ice cream has been Rocky Road. And the extreme temperature difference is very relaxing to me. When I'm distressed, I also do that. I'll just grab a ice glass of water. Um and Yeah, I just really like cold things, especially when I'm stressed out. So having a nice dessert after a long day that's nice and cold just feels nice.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor.
Well, I just want to throw out there, thank you, Justin, for another interview. And I think that something I want to express to everyone who is watching this is how passionate I am about autistic people, ADHD people, anyone on the who's neurodiverse. Um, how important it is to me that everyone receives the support items that they need. So I made a company called Helping Hands Creations, and I make resources for special education and or for people to use in their daily lives. And we have lots of free resources on our website. I've been making these resources for years. And I just really want people to know that if you are ever in need and need help and you can't afford a therapist, or your therapist gave you great advice but you don't know how to implement it at your home, message me. I take suggestions. I can whip up something that's for free, or I can make something that's a little bit nicer and put it in the shop. But either way, um, people deserve to live in with dignity and respect. And I believe giving everyone the resources they need is how we achieve a more equal world. And I want people to have a good life. So it's just really important to me, and it's my dream to create a a business that people know and respect, and they know I trust them. I trust Sam to get me the help I need.
Same here with me. By creating connections, our mission is to educate people out in the community and to equip people on how to deal with people with autism and all that, or any kind of disability, ADHD. If y'all are interested in going and looking on it, go to www.dustinsdream.org. And I hope you all enjoyed watching this video, and please subscribe if you like the video, and
Um,
you enjoyed watching this video. And do you want to say anything else, Sam?
well, just wanted to answer Dave, the Buckeye fan. I just wanted to say, you have a beautiful family. And if you are ever in need, you have two people right here who are willing to help.
Most definitely, Mr. Dave. And I hope to see your boys strive in the future and do very well in life. And Sam and I both make this promise that we will do everything we can to get you on. And this is everybody else who has a child with autism, whether you're adult or kid. We will do everything in our power to get y'all on to a better life and to a better future.
Yep, that's how we met. Well,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Dustin. Thank you.
Bye. You have a great day, and everybody have a wonderful, happy holidays
Happy
while Merry
holidays.
Bells still ringing. Happy holidays, everybody.